The rain on Vega, 9 fell in ribbons of blue light, slicing through the neon haze that clung to the colony's streets. Humans and off-worlders shared the same crooked alleys, the same flickering signs, and the same silent exhaustion. But inside the comet's tail, a bar carved into the belly of an old cargo freighter, laughter echoed above the storm. Ethan Rowe sat at the corner booth, swirling his drink, synthetic whiskey that smelled faintly of ozone. Across from him, Lira slouched, her pale lavender skin glowing faintly in the dim light. Her silvery hair stuck to her face in damp strands, and her 4-fingered hand clutched a bottle of something that looked radioactive. "You humans," she slurred, her accent lilting and melodic. "You think you're so clever, building cities on dead planets, breathing air you shouldn't breathe." She hiccuped, then giggled, eyes glassy and unfocused. Ethan smirked. "And yet, here you are, drinking with one of us." "Because I lost a bet," she said, her voice wobbling. "And because you're not entirely human, are you?" He froze. "What's that supposed to mean?" She leaned in, pupils dilating. "I can smell it. Something in your blood. Something wrong." Ethan forced a laugh, but his grip tightened on the glass. "You've had too much Xanthian liquor." Lira grinned lazily, then collapsed back against the seat. "Maybe. But my instincts don't lie." The two had met 3 months earlier, when Lira crash-landed her shuttle outside Vega 9's perimeter. She was a researcher from the Varan system, studying human behavior, curious, brilliant, and wildly inappropriate at times. Ethan had been part of the rescue crew that found her, half-conscious and bleeding purple in the wreckage. He'd brought her back to health, shared his rations, and, against regulations, let her stay in his unit until she recovered. They'd become unlikely friends. She taught him alien linguistics. He taught her how to cook an edible omelette. But tonight was different. Tonight she was spiraling. Her research grant had been revoked. Her people didn't want her fraternizing with primitive species. She'd laughed it off earlier, but now the liquor loosened something deeper. "Ethan," she said suddenly, voice trembling, "why do you humans lie so easily?" He frowned. "Lie? You smile when you're breaking," she murmured. "You pretend your hearts aren't fragile." Ethan looked away. "That's called surviving." She reached across the table and caught his wrist, stronger than she looked. "Then tell me why your medical scans were blocked from my ship system." His blood ran cold. "You checked my scans." "I was curious," she said softly. "Your DNA, there's a pattern. A resonance I've only seen in Varan hybrids." Ethan's heart pounded. He'd buried that secret for years. "You shouldn't have looked." "Why not?" she challenged. "You saved me. You treated me like an equal. Don't I deserve honesty?" He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Because I don't even know who I am." The storm outside intensified, thunder cracking against the freighter's hull. Lira leaned forward, her expression sobering. "Tell me." He hesitated, then whispered, "My mother worked for the Vega Genetics Division. During the first Varan-human peace talks, she was part of the exchange program. She fell in love with one of your kind." Lira's eyes widened. "They experimented with cross-species embryos. Illegal stuff. When the project was shut down, she fled here, pregnant. I was born human enough to hide, but the tests, they found anomalies. So she destroyed the records." Silence hung between them, thick as smoke. Lira's mouth opened, closed, then opened again. "You're telling me, half Varan?" He nodded. She let out a wild, drunken laugh that startled nearby patrons. "And you kept that secret while I've been babbling about your primitive DNA? Oh, stars." She pounded the table, tears streaming down her cheeks. "It's not funny," Ethan said quietly. "It's everything," she said between hiccups. "Do you realize what this means? You're proof that our species can coexist. You're living evidence of peace." Ethan looked down. "Or a reason for war. Both governments outlawed hybrids like me. If they find out—" "They won't," she interrupted fiercely. "I won't let them." Her drunkenness faded into something fierce and protective. "You've hidden long enough." He stared at her, conflicted. "And what about you? You risk exile just for being here." She grinned crookedly. "I already lost my people's trust. Might as well lose their rules too." A loud crash came from the bar counter. Someone had recognized Lira's species. A group of miners, half drunk and fully angry, whispered among themselves. "Hey!" one of them shouted. "That Varan freak ain't allowed here." Ethan stood up. "She's with me." The miner sneered. "Didn't ask, hybrid boy." Ethan froze again, his pulse spiked. "What did you just say?" The man grinned. "You think we don't run checks? Your file's been flagged for months. Half-breed scum." Lira rose, eyes glowing bright silver. "Say that again," she hissed. Before Ethan could stop her, she launched a pulse of telekinetic force across the room. Bottles shattered. Lights flickered. The miners stumbled backward in fear. Ethan grabbed her arm. "Lira, stop." But she was trembling, tears streaking her cheeks. "They think they can insult you, after everything you've done for them?" Her outburst silenced the bar. Every gaze turned toward her, a mix of awe and terror. Ethan pulled her close, whispering, "You just painted a target on both of us." She laughed bitterly. "Then we run. Together." They slipped out into the rain, the neon lights fading behind them. Lira stumbled but kept pace as Ethan led her toward the old shuttle bay. "You can't run forever," she murmured, sobering. "I've been running all my life," he said. "But maybe this time it's for something real." Lira smiled faintly. "You humans, always chasing redemption. And you Varans, we chase connection," she replied softly. "Maybe we're not so different." Thunder rolled above them as they reached her half-repaired ship. Ethan hesitated at the ramp. "If we leave, there's no going back." Lira took his hand. "Then let's go forward instead." The engines roared to life, scattering the rain in a swirl of blue mist. As the ship lifted off, Vega 9's skyline became a smear of color below them. Lira leaned her head against the window, eyes heavy. "You know, Ethan, when I said I could smell something in your blood?" He glanced over. "Yeah, I wasn't wrong," she said sleepily. "It smelled like home." He smiled, eyes softening as stars bled into view beyond the glass. "Then maybe I finally found mine." As the ship vanished into the storm's edge, the neon world below faded away, leaving behind only two fugitives, bound by secrets, and a future neither fully understood but both were willing to chase. Hours passed in silence as the ship drifted beyond Vega 9's orbit, the storm shrinking to a soft blue glow behind them. Ethan sat in the co-pilot seat, watching the stars stretch into streaks as they entered light jump. Lira slept curled beside him, her glowing skin dim in the dark cabin. When she stirred, her voice was quiet, clear now, no longer slurred. "Do you think they'll come after us?" Ethan's gaze stayed on the stars. "They always do. But I'm done hiding." Lira studied him for a long moment, then smiled sadly. "You know, you could have lived your life pretending to be human. If invisible."